Yes, good evening, gentlemen. Just very quickly, going back on housing, Damian, you did actually, the Conservative government said in 2015 you'd build 200,000 starter homes. The ONS has just reported you've built exactly none. So I think we can take that any promise you make, you tend to break. But my question is about the document produced by the Conservative Party, which is forwarded by Sajid Javid, the man who says he wants to be our next Chancellor. In that document, you claim that the cost of labour will be £1.2 trillion. That has been totally debunked by myself, by reading the 35 pages, and I won't get that back in my life, by people like Full Facts, who pointed out that you've double counted the cost of nationalisation. You use figures which include costings that Labour have not committed themselves to. It also includes you've overpriced the 2007 Labour manifesto by nearly £300 billion, and according to your figures, £85 billion will be the cost of the 4-day week from Labour, but that's been based on the fact that will happen the day after they come into Parliament.
What's your question, Mark?
My question is, would you like to disassociate yourself from that basically tissues of lies? And to be honest, your leader, who was again lying today, who then said that Labour would bring corporation tax up to the highest level in Europe, which of course is total nonsense because it's 34% in France, where Labour are saying they'd take it to 26.
So Labour would only add 7% to corporation tax, taking money away from businesses.
His point was Boris Johnson lied about the figure.
His
point was Boris Johnson lied about the figure.
Well, we've got the lowest corporation tax. But let me deal with some of the points.
Mark's point was that Boris Johnson claimed today that Labour would introduce the highest corporation tax in Europe. Do you agree that's nonsense?
Well, I don't know what Labour would do in their second budget. They've already promised to increase it to 28%, I think, so it could go higher. But quite a lot, I disagree flatly with a lot of what Mark said.
Well, Sajid Javid's claim in this document, I mean, independent experts, including Full Fact, have debunked a lot of it.
I was going to go, this idea that it somehow underestimated the cost of nationalisation. Actually, it's almost the other way around. Labour claim that nationalising part of BT so that the internet would be run by the government, and that would be fun, wouldn't it? But
the double counting, the exaggeration,
that would cost $20 billion.
Do you dissociate yourself from that?
No, I don't. BT said it would be at least double that, so I think they probably know how much they're worth.
Mark, do you want to come back?
Yes, I'll come back on that. Right, so I don't like being told I get my facts wrong because I work on facts. That's why I'm a floating voter. Right, you used the £196 billion number from the CBI for nationalisation. That's the number they came up with, saying that would be the cost for Labour to nationalise the industries it was planning to do. That number was then repeated in that document because of pledges that the Labour Party had made about nationalisation. You double counted it in that document. That is a fact. So don't tell me I have my numbers wrong. It's a total lie, and it seems to me that you're all following this new leader of yours who tends to say a lie every day.
Can I say gently, you don't sound like a floating voter, Mark. But the...
Well, why not? Because he's committed to asking you questions.
No. Yeah, well, no, because he's just spraying the word lie around. But can I take...
Well, but floating voters might well be concerned about the Prime Minister lying.
Can I take the point about the CBI? The CBI knows what... they're as good an independent observer as anyone on the cost of nationalisation. Yes, independent.
Okay.
I mean, they are. They've had rows with governments of all sorts. And the other point is whether or not we can count. The other point Mark made was that we shouldn't necessarily listen to policies that are merely committed to by the Labour Party conference, which has been one of the controversies about this document.
Well, wait for the manifesto. Why don't you cost it then?
Because the number of times I've heard Labour politicians sententiously say, "We are a democratic party. Our conference." We are a democratic party that listens to our conference. Well, if they do, these are just the policies.
Right,
that
we can hear you making noises.
Hang on. No, I'm not going to accept this. Sorry. Right. So your Prime Minister, you've asked me to use the word lie. I spoke to Jo Simpson the other day on a national radio station, and I told her what I thought about her 1% surplus budget, and could she explain it? And she couldn't. So yes, I am a floating voter. So how dare you claim that I'm not? And I have voted for different political parties because I look at the facts. Your Prime Minister said that he's going to build 40 new hospitals. The facts, we know it actually means 6. Your Prime Minister said that he's going to spend £34 billion on the NHS. We know that in real terms, that is £20 billion. He said he was going to spend £14 billion on education. We know for a fact that's £4 billion. So please don't accuse me of being anything than what I'm saying on this radio station. The only people I think the country are seeing who are consistently not telling us the truth, led by a leader who consistently won't tell us about what's in the Russia report, why didn't he declare his interest in that young lady, which is now being investigated? There must be at least 5 investigations around the Prime Minister at the moment, and he's still sitting there, and the Conservatives are letting him. And I'd be saying this if you were a Liberal, a Labour, or any other party.
OK, well, let me take the first point you make about the hospitals. What we've said, very, very openly, is that the first 6 of those hospitals will be built between 2020 and 2025, and that we are already committing the seed money to prepare to build the other 34 between 2025 and 2030.
Well, then don't say 40 new hospitals when we're coming up to an election.
Because there will be 40 new hospitals in the next decade.
Well, another 40 in 100 years. That's not the point.
No, the point is there'll be 40 in the next decade, and that was made perfectly clear when that announcement was made. So to attempt to say it's only 6 is just wrong. And also, we can argue about whether it's cash or real terms, but in the end, the 33.9 billion for the NHS is what will be being spent.